Copwatch, policing the police every single day.
He said, she said. Disagreement over office history heats up state attorney race. By Ann Easker. Staff writer. Chris Crowley claims he and his opponent in the race for state attorney for the 20th Judicial Circuit have one thing in common. Primary August 28th. Write-in candidate, Joseph Hoffman, has also qualified for the race for state attorney in the 20th Judicial Circuit. Fox left the state attorney's office in December 2002, shortly before Russell took office in January. She submitted a letter of resignation on November 4, 2002, stating her resignation would be effective December 2. Russell won the primary earlier that year, facing three opponents, one of whom was Fox's direct supervisor, Marshall Bauer. She admits to supporting his campaign. A book by her father Taher Dajani, From Palestine to America, describes the election this way: when the state attorney, Joe D'Alessandro, decided not to run for re-election after 30 years on the job, his deputy, Marshall Bauer, decided to run. Amira actively supported him. He lost the election by a slight margin to another attorney, Stephen Russell, who concentrated his election. They both have been fired by the man they hope to take the place of, State Attorney Stephen Russell, according to Crowley. However, both Russell and Amira Fox, Crowley's opponent who Russell endorses, deny that story. Crowley and Fox will face each other in the Republican. Crowley. Fox. Campaign outside urban centers. After taking office, the new state attorney began a major sweep in senior staff positions, appointing new attorneys who were close to him. He asked Amira to resign. Soon she was offered a job at a new law firm in Fort Myers, switching from being a state prosecutor to a defense attorney. This week, Fox denied she had ever been asked to resign. She instead said Russell met with everyone on executive staff, including her, as she was head of the Collier County office at the time. Russell discussed that he would be changing over the executive staff, and with that in mind, Fox chose to go into private practice. There was nothing unfriendly about it, she said. It was very amicable, but I decided at that point, it would be better for my career if I went to do private practice and learn the other side of the criminal justice system. She and Russell remained friends throughout her time in private practice, she said, eventually leading him to ask her to return to the office as Deputy Chief Assistant in 2012, overseeing the Homicide Unit, Economic Crimes Unit, and special cases such as public corruption and police shootings. It was a huge compliment to me that he thought highly enough of me in both roles that he would consider me for one of the highest positions at the state attorney's office, she said. A statement issued by Stephen Russell's spokesperson Samantha Sion describes events the same way, stating Russell met with executive staff to discuss future plans for the office, at which time Fox chose to leave the office. She had already entered private practice when he took over in January, the statement notes. Steve Russell had great respect for Amira when they worked together at the state attorney's office under State Attorney Joe D'Alessandro, the statement reads. That respect only grew over the ensuing years while she engaged in a very successful private practice. This admiration and appreciation for Amira as an attorney and as a person led him to approach her in early 2012 and offer her a leadership position at the cell. The statement goes on to praise Fox's work over the past 6 years as Deputy Chief Assistant and now as the Chief Assistant State Attorney. It said that Fox is clearly the most qualified candidate. Chris Crowley believes the two are not being entirely truthful, and stated Russell was furious with Fox for campaigning full-time for Marshall Bauer in 2002. It's clear to me Mr. Russell fired her because he was unhappy with her constantly campaigning for the chosen successor, and now she's doing it again, he said, referring to an ethics complaint filed by Lee County Attorney Dan Andrizel to the Florida Ethics Commission. Filed in December, the complaint states during 2017 and possibly part of 2016, Fox attended dozens of political and community events throughout the 20th Judicial Circuit of Florida, many of them while being a paid state employee during regular business hours, in an effort to further her undeclared campaign for state attorney for the 20th Judicial Circuit. Crowley indicated Fox already had her eye on state attorney when she came back to the office in 2012, describing her return as a backroom deal. "I believe that Amira was gearing up 4 years ago to run against Steve Russell, but a backroom deal was made," he said. By email Friday, Fox states she takes annual leave whenever she attends any campaign functions or does any campaign business. "The ethics complaint filed against me was filed by my opponent's close friend and is absolutely baseless and false," she said. "I never considered running against Mr. Russell, and that claim is also baseless and false, as are all my opponent's claims." Speaking with The Sun earlier in the week, she described her decision to return to the office as a return to her true love of prosecuting. "As I got toward the latter half of my career, I think this is what I wanted to do," she said. "I have never regretted for a moment going back. It's been a wonderful 6 years being Deputy Chief Assistant and now Chief Assistant, and thus leading me to, when Mr. Russell said he was going to retire, leading me to say, all right. It's time. This is going to be my last stop here for me to complete my service to the citizens." Crowley is an attorney with the Fort Myers private practice and Lieutenant Colonel in the Army Reserve Judge Advocate General, JAG, Corps. Both Crowley and Fox are listed as members in good standing through the Florida Bar. Email, aeasker@sun-herald.com. Adno equals 721325. Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Copwatch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County, and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.